of pitching coach jobs, and now you're at a really nice spot at Fairfield. So let's say you're going to check out something. You've been invited to a tournament, or you want to go check out a player. Um, what is something that kind of you know that you look for right away in terms of the basics, the eye test?
Yeah, well, the eye test, I think first thing that pops out is the physical side, right? I think a lot of high school guys, the biggest area of improvement, especially when we're recruiting guys, is to and say, hey, if we get them a little bit stronger, we get them in a college program, they're eating right, they put that weight on in the weight room. Like, how's that gonna help their game? That's a big part of one of the first things that we look at. And I think there's benefit to guys who already have some strength and size to them. I think there's benefit to guys that, maybe 15, 20 pounds down the road, they might have a little bit of a velo jump, they start hitting the ball a little bit harder, but really they become more durable. When you play the amount of games that we play, even right now, we're 6 days a week in the fall with lifting 3 times, conditioning. It's a lot. You're managing a lot of different aspects. You're having to go and get food on your own, which is, nice at home. You get the home cooked meals, but you got to have good time management skills. You got a lot on your plate. And we're definitely pushing our guys really hard to continue to develop, get better, to come closer as a team and prepare ourselves for a spring season where we play a lot in a very short period of time. Those couple months go by really quick. So the physical side is definitely a big thing that stands out. The second thing is we like to see how guys play. I have my stopwatch in my hand every single time a ball is put in play. It's almost second nature now. I hear that contact. I hit the watch. We running hard. A ground out, we can still see maybe it's an above average runner, and that catches my eye, and I stick around to see another at bat. How they go about their, ground balls in between innings. You might not have a ball hit to you. So what does your arm strength look like? How do your feet work? Do you move well? Those are all some of the things that right off the bat are something that we look at. Pitching side, same thing. We want to see that body with a quick arm. We want to see the shapes of the pitches. We want to see their ability to execute and command the strike zone. I think one of the things that I learned when I first started coaching, and I think it still holds true today in a world where there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of different ways to measure things. Um, Pitchers who avoid three ball counts and can get swing and miss inside the strike zone usually is two pretty good signs of what the future is going to look like. Because if everything in high school, I mean, our head coach, Coach Currier, he's been around for a long time. I think he's 22 years a head coach at Vermont. He went down to Tennessee. He's been at Fairfield for 16 years now, and I guess you could say he's probably more old school. But we talk about it all the time. We go recruit guys, and if all you're getting is strikeouts on sliders out of the zone, when you get a more disciplined hitter at the plate, what's going to happen? Do those turn into hitter advantage counts? And we're not getting those same results that we might be getting right now in high school.
Mhm. How does your roster look for next year? Are you guys full? Are you still maybe grabbing one or two more arms, or how does that work this time of year?
Yeah, so this time of year we're still looking. The Division One world's gone through a lot of changes recently. Roster sizes are going back down, but there are designated student athletes that expand roster sizes a little bit. They are tagged now. They don't necessarily count towards your roster limit, but Division One will be at 34 here in the next couple years as that phases out. So for us, we're always looking to see if someone shows up at a camp, at a showcase, at a tournament, and they have some skill sets that we like. And we'll add our roster where we specifically are pretty old this year. So we're going to have some significant innings at bats, innings in the field to replace. We might lose a guy or two to the draft. So we're all these things we're trying to account for as we look ahead. We don't want to overextend and over recruit, but we do want to make sure that we have a solid foundation and depth. For us, high school recruiting is always going to be our foundation. We feel like it's a big part of how they drive a culture here. We will shop in the transfer portal a little bit to kind of plug holes. This year, there was a couple injuries that they had from the previous year that they needed those spots to be filled right now. Well, some younger guys develop. So yeah, we're still looking. We don't feel like we have to add, but we certainly can if the right guy shows up.
Yep. So let's say you got a 2027 emails you. He's like, "Hey, coach, I want to stay in New England. I'm
Mhm.
5'10". Right now, my fastball is 85. I got a 3.7 GPA. I would love to meet you guys. I'd love to learn about your school. Is there any chance you could look at me?" So they say this to you in an email with maybe some video clips.
Mhm.
How often does that happen, and how do you respond to that?
It happens quite a bit. We spend a significant amount of our time, as much as we love being on the field and just doing baseball stuff, throwing BP, hitting fungos. We're in the office a lot, and oftentimes it's going through our emails and following up and watching those clips. We like to see game video. We like to see what does that swing look like in a game. BP's okay. Like we get to see the function of the swing, the mechanics of it. On the pitching side, bullpen in game, it's all good. If you have access to ball flight technology, a Rapsodo, a TrackMan, those things are cool to see. But it's not the end all be all. We like to see what the body looks like, how quick the arm is. For someone who emails us, that does pique our interest, we typically try to formulate a way to see them within the Division I recruiting calendar. If that's works, if it fits, we'll get out. We spend right now, I mean, we're out, we're practicing 6 days a week, and many times we're fortunate the way our class schedule works. We practice from roughly 10 in the morning till about 2 o'clock, and then everyone takes evening classes. There are some nights we spend out on the road. Sundays have been our off day. So Saturday night, we're usually trying to run out and catch the last game of a tournament or a showcase somewhere. And then uh, we're spending a significant portion of Sundays to watch. And
Mm.
it was nice this week. The Patriots played at 8 o'clock, so I got to watch them
Yeah.
get a nice win.
We had Coach Shank on last Monday night, um, and he was just like, "Hey, we like a guy. We're gonna bring him right to our practice. He's gonna practice with
Mhm.
us. We want to see him work out with our guys." Is that something you do? And then adding to that, I got a question from a dad who's on here. He said, "How many types of pitches are you looking for someone who's a starting pitcher?"
Yeah.
And then um, when do you start looking for 2028?
Great question. So I'll start with um, the number of pitches. That's a really good question. For us, there's kind of a general philosophy of if you throw 3 pitches, you have a chance to probably start and see a lineup multiple times through. If you throw 2 good pitches, probably gonna just see a lineup through once. So you're probably more projecting as a reliever. I will say it's a very delicate area to handle because having 5 below average pitches doesn't really work. We want to really find what we're good at as a pitcher and kind of lean into our strengths and everything that we do from a training environment in our catch play. Try to really maximize what each guy's doing. For example, we have a kid he's got a really good fastball and his slider is really hit or miss. So his catch play, he has some specific drills that he does to make sure his slider is good. And the changeup is a development pitch that we're working on, but we're trying to get 2 quality college level pitches first. I think for young guys to really find 1 or 2 that you're really good at. One, we got to have a fastball. We got to be able to command it. We got to be able to move it in, out. I mean, most of the college game is played on the outer half. I think being able to throw a fastball in is a really good pitch. Fastball, by moving it around in the zone, it creates different timings. The hitters have different mechanics and direction with their swing. A fastball in, fastball away work really well. But it's about having something that you're good at, your strengths, knowing what they are, knowing why they're good, And even again, with all the technology out there, there's really simple ways to track that stuff and to make sure that what you're doing is actually working. And the hitter's going to tell you a lot. If you're getting off balance swings, if you're getting weak contact, those are all things that you can say, okay, I probably have something here that's going really well. Back to the first question about workouts. So the difference between Division One, Division Two. Division Two is allowed to have guys work out with their team. For us, we're not allowed to have that. So if we do have someone that we really like, we do try and get them to come and observe a practice. They'll watch. We'll usually give them a tour of campus or athletic facilities. They can watch our guys lift, throw live, throw bullpens, just whatever we may be doing that time of year. Again, as long as it fits within the recruiting calendar, where we are able to have contacts and guys come to our campus, it's great. I do think one of the benefits that we have is we're able to have guys come to our camps. And our camps are not just a way for you to show us what type of skill sets you have, the type of player you are. It's also a really good opportunity for us to show you who we are. And we think about finding a fit. Is this a coaching staff that I feel really good about? Do I feel like they're going to support me? They're going to, support me as a student, as a person, and as a baseball player, and are they going to help me develop? Does it fit with what my goals are? What does my opportunities look like? Is it somewhere where I can come in and play right away? Is it somewhere I can come in and develop and be more impactful on the field as an upperclassman? All things that you would have to really consider when you're looking at a school.
Yep. All right, good stuff. Anything that would, you don't get a chance to spend a lot of time with these guys. So anything that you talked about the eye test and the compete level, anything that's like a turn off, like body language or someone complaining about the umpire, just maybe it's just some quick pros that you're looking for, and then something that might show someone's immaturity.
Yeah, I definitely think body language is a big one, and it's funny you say that because I'm in a position I've been in before, but it's a unique position because you really only get to do this once when you're a new coach. And our first bullpens, we had cameras set up, and it wasn't on ball release, wasn't for mechanics, it wasn't for anything other than body language, and the guys had no idea why we were filming them. And we were doing balls and strikes, catcher was calling. Very simple. And there were ones that our pitchers agreed with, probably some that they didn't agree with. And we went back, and my first one-on-one meetings with these guys was just watching video and going, what is his body language telling me right now? So that is a big thing that we prioritize here. I think that body language is a big sign of whether there's some immaturity or not in a baseball player. We want to carry ourselves with confidence. We want to live in the present moment. Um, Great kind of cliche. We want to focus on the things that matter and the things that we can control, right? There's plenty of things that matter that we can't control in the game of baseball, and there's plenty of things that we can control that don't matter. And if we spend our time in those spaces, it's probably not where we're going to be at our best to perform at our highest level. So body language is definitely a big one. I think the lack of hustle is definitely something we look at. We watch you guys in the dugout, how you interact with your coaches. We also spend a lot of time on the phone. Like KG's got someone, I'm going to call him and be like, "What's this guy like?" And that hopefully the person you're talking to is honest with you about someone, because we want to make sure that we're getting the right people in our program. Nick Saban talked about this in one of his probably thousands of presentations, but sometimes it's not about who you're getting on your bus. You're trying to figure out who you got to get off your bus, because building a culture and building that team chemistry is extremely important for success. It's not just a collection of talent. And for us, we talk about it. We want to build a program, not just assemble a team.
Yeah, man, great point, especially for you guys that are playing 50, 60 games, and it's such a grind.
Mhm.
Um,
Spend a lot of time together.
yeah, that's great. Anyone out there have a question for Coach Tilton, real quick? Um, Cool. So what's your day-to-day life like this time of year, and what are some of the things like you're working with your pitchers on right now?
Yeah. So right now we're right in the middle of our fall team practice segment. So our first 2 weeks, the guys got on campus. We were in what we call individuals or small groups, and so basically the pitchers and position players are pretty separate at that time. If there's any crossover, it'd be more just like stand-in bullpens or maybe a couple just pitcher hitter live settings. Early on, it's about collecting information, making evaluations, and just observing, and then trying to put together individual player development plans and just lay the foundation for how the year is going to go. Right now, as we move into team practice, we're live a lot. We have 19 pitchers on our pitching staff, and there are 15 that are throwing live. So we're starting to piece together what roles could be for the spring. It's again, things always change, but we're trying to figure out what guys could be a starter. Maybe some sophomores who took a jump and really developed. Um, a lot of guys are pitching twice a week. It'll be one in like we got some guys going 1 inning tomorrow, and they'll probably go 2 innings on Friday. We have some guys going 1 inning on Wednesday, and we'll probably go 2 or 3 on Saturday. So right now it's a lot of playing. And anytime we do have this team practice where we're not in a live setting, we're doing a lot of our team concept stuff. So first and thirds, bunt defense, cuts and relays, the things that we really want to get a good grasp on now, especially being a school in the Northeast, that we may not have the opportunities that schools down south have to get outside in the month of January when guys come back to campus because we go down and play Coastal Carolina February 13th, and they're not going to care if we didn't do cuts and relays for a couple weeks. So we're really trying to get that foundation set up where we can go and feel really good about where we're at when we break for the holidays, and then we come back and we're going to try and get into live at bats. We have a beautiful indoor barn with a couple cages. We have a turf field next to our stadium that we can use. We'll try and get out there when the weather allows. But right now, the biggest thing from a pitching side that we're working on is trying to attack our individual development plans, and that's pitch shapes. It's managing the run game. We got a lot of things that happen as a pitcher, right? It's not just balls and strikes, velocity, right? We're trying to figure out what pitches play well off each other. How are we sequencing hitters? What are my strengths? How am I leveraging them to get outs consistently? If I have a threshold of 1-3 to the plate or quicker, how do I fit that without losing velocity or losing my stuff? So a lot of guys are coming in early before practice. We'll have some scripts set out for them with medicine balls, water bags, all kinds of tools that we have at our disposal to help guys kind of iron out some of those mechanical inefficiencies so we can go out there and compete with a clear head and be really consistent.
Question just came in. Um, when are your camps held, and what's the difference between a camp and a showcase?
So for us, our camps are on our field. We'll have one, I want to say it's October 18th or 19th, that Sunday. We'll have one in the fall. We'll have a winter one, which is a little different. We're not going to be out on the field. We're not going to play. And then we'll typically have 2 or 3 throughout the summer. So a camp is going to be at our school. It's going to be with our coaches. We're going to be giving a lot of instruction the first half of our day before we go and play. Pitchers will be with me, and we'll be talking about the things that we feel are important. We'll go through our throwing program. Our hitters will get in the barn and hit with Coach Fay. They'll do infield work with Coach Fay. They'll be in the outfield with Coach Lags. They're getting a lot of instruction. And so that's where, when we talk about us showing you who we are, and if we're a good fit for you and we're a staff that you feel like you would benefit from, and you create some value for yourself while you're here, you get a significant portion of that. And then you get a chance to play. A showcase is probably going to be more through an independent third party. where they are bringing a bunch of players in, and there's definitely value to them. There's going to be probably a large number of college coaches in attendance. Um, Probably less instruction and just more showcasing your skills. So you'd probably run a 60. Outfielders would make throws. Infielders would probably all line up at shortstop, make their throws. Catchers would get pop times. The pitchers would throw a bullpen or maybe some live setting, but probably a little bit more limited in the instruction on the instruction side of things.
So we always tell our guys, go on, your websites, look for your camps, find where you want to play. Do you want to stay in New England? What level do you want to play at? Go to their camps. And it's probably the best $200 you can spend on doing this travel ball journey. Do you have any 2028s on your radar yet? And what can a 28 do to get on your radar now?
28s are starting to get on our radar. Again, we try to manage recruiting multiple classes at once. There are a number of ways to get on our radar. It's to come to our camps. Typically, the tournaments we are going to are going to be more 1 or 2 class focused. So we'll go to a 2027 or 16U tournament, and there may be some 28s there that are, I guess, technically playing up a year. And maybe they show us something that we feel like, okay, this is interesting. Let's see in a year when they are more physically mature what this looks like. 28s, yeah, we're starting to look at them, but it's more about kind of collecting names and the idea of, okay, what this might be in the future. Where 27s, we're starting to lean more into the let's make a decision on this player if we feel like they could be a fit for our program, or if they're, maybe someone that we're okay with passing on.
Yep. When is the best time to start emailing a college coach?
I think early on in your career, that's one great way to get on our radar. Probably that sophomore year, so 28s right now would be a really good spot, really good time to start getting on our radar by sending us an email, sending us some video. It doesn't have to be super long, just a couple clips of your skill set, and then we have our recruiting board. We'll put your name on it, and that's typically how we'll end up following up with these guys probably next summer, and next fall.
I heard a tip the other day. Put your best skill in the subject line, right? Like lefty, 85, 6'3", whatever your best, tool is, right? Put that in the subject line, and find a way to stand out. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, going back to what I was talking about pitching, like understanding what your strengths are and knowing why they're a strength and how it plays in the game of baseball. I think it shows a little bit of self-awareness, which is great. And it shows, that you have something, maybe you're a 6'4" runner and you're 6'1" and 145 pounds right now. And well, you can really run. Probably got to get stronger. We got to see how the rest of your game looks, but it's tough to teach someone who can really run. Or if it is an above average velocity on a fastball, well, maybe in a year you've developed the off speed pitch. Maybe the velocities continue to increase. So yeah, I think that definitely helps putting that in the subject line.
Yep. All right, so going back to your high school career, you were at Spalding, right?
I was.
Yeah, Spalding High School. What kind of advice would you give your 16-year-old self, Chris Tilton?
Oh, well, probably something I've already covered, not being so worried about things that don't really matter and can't control. Think looking back, I was pretty consumed with when I ended up at SNU, there were guys who threw harder than me, and just it took away from what I did well, because I tried to be someone that I wasn't. I tried to do something that I wasn't capable of doing at the time. Um, so I think, just again, I would like to really just trust myself and trust that I knew that I had some really good skill sets, and to really hone in on those things, because they could play at that level. And Yeah, just don't be so consumed with the things that you can't control.
Mhm. Mhm. Guys, anybody? Jack Parisi, what do you got? Anything?
I was just gonna ask about like what I can do as a sophomore for the
Mhm.
recruiting process, but you kind of answered that right then.
Yeah. No, I think again, some of the things that we've covered, but as a sophomore, the emails are good. I do think there's a point where when you start to get an idea of where your skill set may play, you start to get an idea of what type of environment you want, and that can be the location of the school. I've been fortunate to coach at a couple different schools now. I've been up in Maine, where you get an hour past Portland. That last little bit of a drive, it's not a whole lot. And I've also been in a city before. So once you start to understand what you want that environment to look like, what type of academic pursuit you are on, those things are really important. When you start to filter down your list of, hey, these are maybe my 5 to 10 schools I'd be interested in, and those would be the schools I'd start reaching out to, and then finding ways to get in front of them. If you find that a school you're interested in is attending a showcase, maybe that might be one that's worth attending. Going to a camp might be worth attending that camp just so you can have that face-to-face interaction with a coach. But emails are definitely a really, really good start.
Yep. All right. Any good stories about maybe someone who was 5'8", 5'9", who just kept knocking on your door, and you guys finally took him and ended up being a really good player, or somebody that just found a way to get on your team who wouldn't take no for an answer?
Yeah. I had a kid who, funny enough, he came from Fairfield Prep, which is right on our campus here at Brown University. He's a junior this year. Um, at the time, he was probably 150 pounds soaking wet. He was 6'1", arm speed was okay, probably was like 82 to 85. Um, really interested in a specific program that Brown has along with the Rhode Island School of Design, a dual degree program. And he just continued to relentlessly show interest, came to camps. He would email us. He would, once he got my phone number, he would text me. And just him wanting to be there was a big part. Like we valued that in his recruiting process. And over time, he started getting a little bit better and getting a little stronger. And this past summer, he was a first team all league Cape Cod League pitcher. And he's probably the highest draft prospect out of the Ivy League this year.
Wow. Guys, just don't take no. Just keep grinding. Like, just find a way to just keep going. And that's a great. I love that. There's so many stories like that out there.
Mhm.
Question came in. How much do grades weigh into the recruiting process?
They weigh a lot. So depending on what your schools are, I've been fortunate to coach at some great institutions, Colby College, Brown University. Grades matter. They matter a lot, and they matter a lot here at Fairfield too. Not only from the ability to admit you into the school, but also from merit packages that you could have. And obviously, every school is a little different in how they do that, but finances are a factor, right? If there was really four things, it's academics, athletics, your environmental, social fit, and then the financial fit. Those are probably the four main players in a decision that anyone would have to make going into that decision making process of what school you want to attend. Grades matter a lot. I mean, it's one of the first things we look for after we get that when we get that email. I typically try and find in there somewhere what the GPA is, and then it's okay. Well, now I need to see a transcript, and what does the class rigor look like? Are we challenging ourselves in the classroom, or are we just kind of coasting by? Are we really specializing in one area that maybe that school would be a great fit for, or maybe it's not a great fit at that college, and maybe we want to pivot and look somewhere else that's going to be a better academic fit in our pursuit of a degree. but we certainly do pretty early on look at the academic track record of a student. And I will say from a general standpoint, it's not always how you start, it's how you finish. Pretty much every school I've been at, they want to see some form of progression, and that's in the actual grade we're getting and also the level of courses that we're taking as well.
All right. Good stuff. Thanks for doing this, Coach. I think this is super valuable. We're gonna record. We'll have this posted on our YouTube page, and it'll be available for the rest of the players who didn't see it. I think it's great, man, and it's got to be super intimidating for these guys. But I just work on your. I just always tell these guys, just work on your skill set. Don't worry about driving 5 hours to a showcase. Go to the gym, eat right, get better. And the old adage is they'll find you. Is that still true, Coach? Will they find you if you're good enough, right?
Funny enough story. Yesterday I was at a field here in Connecticut, and the level of baseball wasn't great. It was okay. There's a couple players there that'll probably end up playing in college. There's one pitcher there who was very good, and I was sitting in the press box with another Division I coach from up here in New England, and I did hear someone start walking up the steps of the press box, and I hear a Southern voice go, "All right, if I sit up here with you guys," and it was an SEC school, and I don't think anyone knew that he was there, and it was a pretty cool moment to see that not only the budget that those schools have to be able to just fly up here and watch 3 innings and then hit the road back to Knoxville, so Tennessee. There you go.
Knoxville.
It was pretty cool. Like we spend a lot of time doing this because it's important. We spend a lot of time with you guys. We want to make sure that we have the right people in our program that we feel like are going to help us reach our goals as a team. So it's a big part of it. Reaching out, making sure that you do get on our radar, you work on yourself and continue your development. There's plenty of times where someone maybe didn't blow us away early on, and then we see them a year later and they've gotten stronger, they move better, and they maybe they run faster, whatever it may be, and maybe we reconsider.
Yep. Coach, last question. Hold on a sec. What do you think of these big money recruiting companies where you're I'm sure you see them all the time, but that versus a personal email from a player?
Yeah, I think you reaching out as a player, I think speaks to level of maturity that someone has, that their willingness to advocate for themselves. And I think it shows the intention that you care and that you are very interested in our school. And again, we do consider that you want to be here. It's not a last resort. It's not a third option, right? That you have genuine interest, and we want to make sure that that's acknowledged. These larger companies, I think there are some really good ones out there. There are some that I also think are maybe not as great. They don't value the person. They kind of just try and push commitments, and you got to find the right people with anything in life. You got to find the right people and surround yourself with them, and have them support you in a way that is beneficial.
Yeah. Well, that's what's great about New Hampshire. The community is small. The baseball guys are tight. Everyone knows each other. And if I got a guy next year that's ready for Coach Tilton at Fairfield, I'm gonna send him your video, and who knows what will happen. So Great catching up with you, man. Who's your pick to win the World Series?
Oof. I don't know. I'm kind of on the Blue Jays train right now.
Yeah, that would be
They're
cool.
they're pretty hot. They're swinging it off Freed the other night. Man, hard to bet against them, but the NL is pretty loaded too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Brewers would be good too.
Yep. Yep.
So awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for making a big impact on these kids and helping us out on their recruiting trail.
Yeah, of course. No, it was a pleasure to do this. I'm happy to help. And again, being from New Hampshire, I always love to reconnect with some people that meant a lot to me, helped me get where I am today.
Yep.
So if you guys have any questions, my email is on our website. Feel free to reach out, and I'll be happy to, as long as the NCAA rules permit, to be able to give you some advice.
Yep. All right, Coach. Appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you later.
Sounds
you.
good.
Bye-bye.
See you
Thanks.
guys.